How do you keep your hair? Do you have any hair under your veils? Some people don't. Some people do. What do you guys do?
That's a great question. So I don't know if you've ever seen pictures of St. Anthony of Padua, but we have hair like that where it's like a ring and it's burnt here or it's shaved off in the middle. No, just kidding.
Hello and welcome to Kept in Her Heart, where we talk about all things faith-related. I'm your host, Jenny Fuchs. Today we have two beautiful sisters joining us from Pro Ecclesia Sancta, Sister Cinthia, Sister Maddie, and they're from the Sacred Heart of Jesus convent in Minnesota, and they're going to answer for us the top questions from our viewership about sisters. So thank you for volunteering your time. Appreciate you answering our questions.
Yeah, thank you for having us, Jenny. It's great
absolutely.
to be here.
So, our first question, how much time do you spend together with other nuns and how much time are you alone? So maybe you should clarify first, you guys aren't actually nuns, right? You're sisters. So what's the difference between a sister and a nun?
What's the difference?
Good question.
So nuns are religious consecrated that live in a monastery. Usually they embrace their vows. And usually their charism is to have a very deep prayer life and sacrifices. So they would be usually cloister sisters, or they would be cloister sisters, right? And so they will devote their lives to that, to prayer and sacrifices. So it's a very beautiful vocation. So those are nuns. And then sisters.
Like us. Usually in their charism or their calling, they're active. I guess that's kind of a difference between cloistered nuns and sisters. We aren't like separated from the world in that sense, so that we go out and we serve. And so we spend time with other sisters, with people, and then also with our community. We still live that life of being completely the Lord's and having those times of prayer and silent moments with Him, intimate moments with Him. But the way that we serve, I guess, is a little bit different than how a cloistered nun would serve through her life of prayer and sacrifice.
Sure, so the cloister, they're more separated from the public, and regular religious sisters are more involved with the public, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. And so how much time do you guys spend together, and how much time do you spend alone?
So in Sister Maddie's words, it would be, we're always together. Yeah, no, but it's true in a way because, for example, in the day we start with prayer, which is something personal, like we are doing it one by one with the Lord, but at the same time, we're all together in the chapel praying. So you're with your sisters in a community moment of prayer, but at the same time, it's something personal. And we also have some free time that sometimes sister likes to go play the guitar, and I like to go organize the things I have to organize or things like that. But also in the ministries, we are together.
Yeah, usually we'll go in pairs to our ministry, and there you're working together, serving together. There are moments too where you do work one-on-one with people or with a small group or something. So, but yeah, we're together too. So it's beautiful, life of community, family life. Yeah,
it might look different in different orders, but it's kind of like our experience also. I think generally it speaks of what religious life in an active order would experience.
Sure. All right, excellent. Our second question, well, it kind of, maybe we answered this. Do you meet and talk to people outside, and what kind of services do you offer to other people?
Yeah, so maybe you can
Yeah,
share.
well, it's different depending on the order sometimes, but in our order, our charism is to live and promote holiness. And so a lot of how we are serving is by accompanying people in their journeys to holiness and journeys to getting closer to the Lord. And so accompanying them, serving them in a spiritual sense. We do, a wide variety of things, because it's not like we're just called to be teachers, but sometimes we help teach by teaching. Sometimes, like Sister here, she works in our office for communications and evangelization. So she's trying to share God's love with people through the media. Just like, I know, here through this video, hopefully people experience God's love. And so that's one way that we're serving and walking with people. Also, so our order is from Peru originally, so there we have some other ministries too where we serve people in a cancer home where we try to walk with them spiritually there, serve them there, and then we do mission trips as well. Where she's been on a couple of them as a sister leading. So I don't know.
So it's beautiful to see how maybe in a setting like in a mission trip, it's very like mixed together. We have the missionaries we're taking, which they have their own experiences and we walk with them, but also the people we're serving. So they're from the villages, so they do receive a lot of, I think, love from the Lord through the missionaries, which is a beautiful experience to see because the missionaries don't speak Spanish and the villagers don't speak English. So it's a great way to see how a missionary once said that it's a love language, sister. We just love them and they love us back and we communicate in that way. So it's a beautiful experience for both of them. And we're able to see that like through those days. And also I wanted to share how I think maybe Sister Maddie has experienced this more, but you can start your day with being with middle schoolers. Then in the afternoon or towards the end, you have one-on-one with a mom or an elderly person that comes to you after mass, or and then in the evening you have a small group meeting. So it's like through the day we have this beautiful gift of ministering different people, and sometimes even at the end of the day when we have our holy hour, people come join us on one of those, and they'll bring their babies and their families, and they will be like coloring or praying during holy hour, bringing cards to Jesus. So it's like a beautiful experience of ministering all peoples and all ages and all stages of life, because we're all called to be holy. So it's a beautiful gift. Yeah,
that's awesome. All right. Well, you kind of started to answer this. Question 3, do you pray all the time in some way? And words or thoughts? Like, are you constantly praying like St. Paul asks us to? And what does that look like?
Well, right now I'm praying that I'm saying the right words. No, but it's true. I mean, it's a great exercise. We especially need to have that time of prayer personally with the Lord. So just that time, so the fruits of that time with Jesus are what we can not only bring throughout the day for our personal growth and continuously growth in our relationship with God, but also to minister other people, because we're not giving ourselves, we're giving God.
So it's true that every day we do have 2 holy hours, one in the morning and one in the evening, where we're in the presence of Jesus in the Eucharist, but also it doesn't just end there in those hours. We try to live in God's presence throughout the whole day. And so, I mean, you can be praying in whatever you're doing, really, as you're ministering someone or as you're preparing for an event. I don't know, maybe you're ironing, and you can do that with love for the Lord, and then it becomes a prayer. We can all do that. I'm sure you and your husband do that, all the time. As you're taking care of your kids, you can also be praying because you're loving and sacrificing, and so really the whole day, if we're being faithful, it could be a whole prayer, one long continuous prayer. And that's, I don't know, something too that's really beautiful is there's so many saints that teach us to live that way too. And so in our order, one of the saints that we learn a lot from is St. Ignatius. And so he would teach that a lot too, to live in that constant state of prayer, always trying to do everything that you do for the glory of God, not just for the sake of doing it, and so always trying to see, how can I do this maybe a little bit better because I want to do it for the Lord, and how can I give the Lord more glory, and how can I don't know, go into this event, maybe it's a Advent party or something, and do everything so that all the souls coming to it can experience God's love in a special way. Like that also is kind of a continuous, I don't know, presence of prayer or living of prayer in your daily day, your daily life.
Yeah, absolutely. How much time in a day would you recommend the laity pray? And what prayers do you recommend, suggestions on how to get started?
So it's a good, when you ask the question, say the laity. So it's important to know where God has called us to be in order to offer Him our time. So always to be generous with that. I think it's something we need to start with. So because we want to be with God, it's important. So I would say it's always depends on. Because, yeah, I mean, even though laity, it's like a group of people, like a mom wouldn't play the same time as a child or as a person that already has their time to pray that is not working maybe anymore. So it's like always an opportunity for discernment, but also of generosity, because we want to grow in love with God. So if that's the purpose, to get to know him, if you met someone and you really want to be their friend and get to know them, you will spend more time. So I think that's kind of like a general idea of how to think about it at a time. But a good way to start, if you never pray, it would be like 5 minutes a day, maybe, like of a deep prayer. Mm-hmm. But in the way that you don't just stay on the 5 minutes, though. You want always to grow in that time, which will come naturally. Yeah. I mean, if you get to know the Lord.
Right. That's how I started. I started praying 5 minutes a day, and then eventually, if you want to keep growing closer to the Lord, you're going to want to increase that a little bit each day. And so I had to start somewhere.
Yeah. And you're talking about that personal prayer time. For someone who's not had that sort of personal prayer time with God, it can be kind of awkward. Like, how do you recommend that someone get started?
Well,
what do you do in your 5 minutes?
What did I do in my 5 minutes when I started? It was really important that I be in silence. So kind of get away from those distractions in my life. I would go to a corner of my bedroom and pray there, and just try to quiet my heart so that the Lord, I could hear him. There wasn't all this noise keeping me from hearing him. And so, just starting with conversation, and then as my 5 minutes grew into maybe 10 minutes, 15 minutes, then I started praying with scripture. That's the living word of God, and so the Holy Spirit is always speaking to us through scripture. So I would recommend starting there. That's how I started. There's not like the right formula, but it's a good place to start.
Maybe these tips will work. So sometimes I recommend some people that, if you're praying, I don't know, let's say at 8, and you wake up at 7, so you have your daily routine, your morning, but as you're like leading to the moment of your prayer, you can also start doing that before. Like, I know I'm going to pray at 8, so right now I'm not going to turn on the music all volume and start listening or texting someone, but I'm going to leave that, so I'm going to prepare my prayer, because I'm going to encounter. I mean, if you have a date, you get ready for that, right? So it's something like that, like preparing your heart also to encounter God, and know that it doesn't have to be something complicated, I guess. He loves simple hearts. He said that in the Bible. So we just want to offer him ourselves, which sometimes, first and most of all for us, it's hard to do that, like to offer just who we are, and maybe to be distracted and just to try to go back to him and try to listen to him. Or a simple prayer of, Lord, I don't know how to do this, and help me. I want to be here and maybe grow my 5 minutes, but help me to do that. I don't know how to do it. So it's just as simple as that, I would say. And another thing maybe could be for someone that, I used to start also with my room, but I have to add something. So I had a huge poster of Jesus, I have to say, because I needed to see something that will help me concentrate. And so even better if you can go to Pray to Adoration Chapel and be in the presence of Jesus in the Eucharist, which is a great gift. So if you have the opportunity to do that, that's a great way to go through that, and knowing that it feels like you're just there, but God is there. So you cannot go out with empty hands when you're in his presence. You're always given a gift. And so know that it doesn't feel like something, but his ways are not our ways. So he will give you a great gift, and eventually you'll notice. Or maybe not, and just be, Yeah,
a priest once told me that, I spoke to him and said that, it just seemed like there's this aura about him, like there's this, you feel this presence of God when you're around him. And he always made a holy hour, and he made a point, that adoration was very important to him. And so he pointed out, he's like, when you're sitting in the presence of God like that, it's like sitting in the presence of the sun. You can't help but, get a tan, but like to be affected and to naturally carry it out when you're in his presence.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Good point. And I don't know that you guys, I didn't see you have a rosary, but I know a lot of orders have like this large rosary that they have on their side. And so somebody wanted to know, why is your rosary so long? Any ideas on that?
It's a special one. Well, it's true. We don't have a rosaries like some orders do, which is, I think, very beautiful as well. Like a great sign of their love for Mary.
I mean, we have our rosaries; they're in our pockets, but it's not on the habit itself. But it's a beautiful sign of a sister's, or all of our love for our mother too. Is maybe why it would be so long is to show that love for our Mother Mary.
Yeah, and I suppose if they wore a small rosary there, it would just kind of clank and get in the way. And so the larger one is also a more visible sign of our outward love for our mother, yeah.
And I guess, people don't use that, like, rosary hanging, but it is a beautiful, I've noticed, maybe in some sisters that do wear those, that it's a great way also to go back to that prayer that we were talking about, to be in that presence of God, just to hold it in your hand and to know that Mary is with you and to go through that. Even not just praying the Hail Mary, because sometimes it's not, like in this moment, but as you're going through your day, just to know that Mary is with you, like to be able to hold it. So sometimes that, I think, I don't know if the sisters do it because of that, but probably. And so it's a beautiful reminder to have those kind of things. Or sometimes I say, well, Jesus is hugging me right now, but it's a good way also to go back to, okay, they're with me. So
yeah, that's awesome. Somebody wanted to know, do you have any salary for this work? Do you guys get paid? Like, how does money work within the convent? And like you said, fundraising earlier about like your college debt. Like, how does that all work?
So as religious, we embrace the vow of poverty. So that means that we want Jesus to be our only treasure. So part of a sign, like a practical sign of that, is that we don't have salaries. We do have everything in common. So it's even like the rosary or the things we have, or even our watch. Everything is of our use to serve the Lord. So that's the way we live it. It's a way to be detached, and it's honestly very freeing.
Very freeing, yeah.
To know that we depend on the Lord, and that He's the one that provides everything for us. And honestly, we know God is generous, and He really gives us what we need in order to be continue serving Him and grow in holiness, I think. And I have this vivid memory also. A couple of years we moved to another convent. In our superior considered that it was important that we leave every furniture there. And we were like, wow, okay, it's God calling us also to be detached, because you think of, what are we gonna do? But it's a great way to be reminded that the Lord provides. And He honestly keeps surprising us, I think, in every aspect on that. And it's not that we don't have any furniture now, but what I want to say is that those little ways of detachment, or big ways, sometimes, helps us to, okay, where's my heart now? Is it in that we need those things? Because things, are useful, but they're not. There's things. There are things, and it's a great way to be focused more on the Lord. So it's been a great gift. I don't know if you remember this experience of entering religious life. We have these big pockets on our habits, and to know that there was nothing on them. Just your rosary. Yeah, so it's like no phone, no money. So it's like, okay, yeah, this is for you, Lord. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just a beautiful opportunity to grow in trust too, which I need to grow in. I'm sure all of us do. So it's another beautiful opportunity to grow closer to the Lord in that way, and really trust that He's going to provide. He's not going to just ask you to live this vow of poverty and say good luck. He's really going to be there with you. So
yeah, and so does your convent? Like some places like grow their own gardens or make their own coffee, or, in those ways are able to raise funds to support their food and whatever they need for living. How does your convent get money? Does it just donations, or do you I don't know what other choices
so
there
we
are.
do. I mean, there's a lot of generous people that helps us, and we're very grateful that they're also hearing God's call to be part of this mission, because also without their generosity, we couldn't be also ministering other people. And not only by donations like money, financial, but also with their time and their gifts. So that's a great gift. But we also have different ways to fundraise.
Yeah. One way, we have a little gift shop at our convent that we make different products for, not just to raise money, because they're products that we hope can be used to evangelize too, like rosary bracelets, then you write in the rosary, or maybe a shirt with a Virgin Mary on it. And so it kind of has like this twofold goal there. But that's another way that, we can help be supported, pay for the heating bill, in this cold Minnesota weather. So
it's true. And it's a great opportunity also, as you are making the things, to be reminded of that trust and praying for the people that will receive the products. And because we work as a community when we do it. So it's been, a great opportunity to evangelize. Yeah.
That's awesome. Wonderful. Okay. What did you want to be when you were a kid? Now, you have already answered that question in another video. Check out her other video if you want to know what she wanted to be when she was a kid. But I don't know that you answered the question. So what did you want to be when you were a kid?
I think I went through different phases. So I love animals. I wanted to be a vet at the beginning. But then, honestly, I like photography. I don't know. I don't think I've ever practiced it, but I also wanted to be a photographer. At some point, I wanted to be in the army. So I think the photography part was stronger, which is funny because now it's part of my ministry. And so the Lord is just, prepares your heart and your gifts also to serve Him. So it was,
And now you're in God's army.
Yes, and in God's army and in photography and taking care of God's creations.
Right. I mean, maybe all three. Yeah, absolutely. All right. So this is an interesting question. How do you keep your hair? Do you have any hair under your veils? Some people don't. Some people do. What do you guys do?
That's a great question. So I don't know if you've ever seen pictures of St. Anthony of Padua, but we have hair like that where it's like a ring and it's burnt here or it's shaved off in the middle. No, just kidding.
It's a joke.
That's a joke. But yeah, I mean, we have hair. It's shorter, but
we tell other people, if you really want to know, well, you have to become a sister.
Yeah. Do you guys wear the kind of a follow-up question? Do you wear your veils all day? Like, when do you take your veil off? Just when you sleep?
There's another joke about that. I don't know if we should do that also. But no, we do sleep without our habit and our veil. But we like to joke that sometimes we just go like this and we just wake up and are perfectly fit. But no, we do sleep. It would be kind of uncomfortable, probably.
Yeah, I think so.
But
from one of the children, do you play video games?
Oh, that's an interesting question. Yeah. Well, I don't right now, but sometimes I feel like I know what the video games are because the kids we serve share about them so much, or because it's something that they do. But I don't
think we can play it though. It's like so complicated, but no, we don't.
And from a mom, do you pray for mothers?
We do. I mean, it's been a beautiful gift to receive those intentions sometimes. We do have like a prayer intention part of our website, but also the people that we know, they always ask us, especially, I don't know, maybe recently for me has been like, a friend or I am about to, go in labor or next week, this is going to happen to my kid. So those like concerns of mothers, it's very beautiful to be united with them in their prayers and to know how important it is for them to ask for prayers for themselves as they are growing in their vocation, but also for their kids. It's been a great gift. And then they send you sometimes the pictures of the babies, and it's so beautiful to be part of their lives in that sense, and then to walk with them in their journey. It is a beautiful gift.
Mm-hmm. Well, this is my question actually. I know there's different types of vows. There's like simple vows and what was yours? Temporary vows and final vows, and there's lots of can you explain to me, what is this process? What does it mean? And then I think your veils, so you have different veils. So does your veil go with your vow? And can you just explain that to me, please?
Yeah, well, maybe I can start. When you join as a sister, I mean, when I joined, the first day I joined, I saw this as a choice I was making forever, but the different stages are there to help us continue to discern that and also like deepen that promise that you made that first day. And so when we start in formation, we have a uniform habit. It's similar to this, a little different. We don't have this cape yet, and we don't have a veil yet. And then when we make that first deepening of our promise with the Lord, those are our temporary vows. So like our first vows, and that's when we receive the white veil and the full, complete habit. Okay. And so I'm currently in my first vows, my temporary vows. That's what the white veil means. And then I don't know, you can kind of think of it too as maybe engagement. I don't know, sometimes it helps to have something to compare it to. Yeah. And then as you continue renewing those vows and deepening that relationship with the Lord, then you can get married and you make your final vows, your final profession. And so you receive kind of like your wedding ring, like Sister has. Maybe you can explain your crucifix and
here's the black veil, and the cross is the sign of our final consecration to God. So like some other orders receive their ring, for us is the cross, which represents our spousal relationship with Him, and that we want to embrace the cross in the sense that this stage in our order is also called kenosis, which is a word to express what Jesus did when He became man and died on the cross. That emptiness of Himself. Emptiness of Himself? Emptying, thank you. Emptying of Himself out of love for God. And so that's why the cross represents that we want to do that for Him. Pray for us so we embrace that every day, because it's a continual growth, like as you experience also in other vocations of that love for God. And so it is a beautiful gift. The Lord knows. I mean, we need the external signs in order, I mean, we're human, so it is a great gift to see how even receiving those signs, sometimes we say, yeah, we're going to receive our black veil or white veil. I mean, it's more than just what you're receiving, like just the items that different us, but really the deepening of that relationship with God. And yeah, it's a great gift here. Yeah. So totally, maybe formation is usually like 4 years, so that first stage, and then usually the temporary vows are like 5. So you don't want to add up, but then after like 8 years or 9 years, you finally profess your vows, which it seems long sometimes. I think when I joined, I was like, woo, until I finally profess my vows. But it comes it goes by very fast. And you always feel like you're not ready, and we never are, I think. But we want to embrace more and more the gift of God's love for us. So with His grace, we can embrace it, but it's always, also a leap of faith and, to continue growing in love. So.
Yeah, a great reminder too, as when I look at myself, I see this habit, I remember that, I belong to the Lord, I'm His spouse here with my veil, so it's a good reminder for me and for people that see it. That as well.
There's so many stories about encounters with people that have never seen a sister also, or that have, or something similar. For example, I think we were out getting some things maybe, and some kids were talking to her mom like, what is that, Mom? Like pointing at us, and we were like, oh, hi. And the mom was like, shh, don't say that. But what is that? Like, not even that we were like a person, but they were so surprised because probably they've never seen that. Or thinking that we were saints walking also, or things like that. So it's always beautiful to see the great gift that is an honor to get to bear, to have a habit in, and especially how much we live that consecration that it could be a witness to others. So
yeah, I think I teach RCIA, and in our program, we just yesterday watched Alteration, which is Father Mike talking about the whys behind what the clergy wear at Mass, what the priest puts on. And he had a guy come up to him after Mass one day and say, why do you think you're so special? You're wearing all those clothes. And he's like, no, it's quite the opposite. It's because I'm hiding me and I'm showing God, right? And so these habits are a beautiful witness to others of not your fashion sense as much as your love for God and your witness to Him in every aspect of your life. Yeah, so that's beautiful. Well, I thank you for joining us and answering all these burning questions.
No, thank you, because we have the opportunity to share, and hopefully some people would know a little bit more about religious life and know that it's, even though it's maybe something that seems uncommon, a gift and something very needed as well. So also encourage people not to be afraid.
That's right. Be not afraid. Be not afraid. And you can trust Him, and God is going to be with you in whatever your vocation is. Just like you were saying that, whether it's married or religious life or consecrated single life, or whatever it is, if He's calling to you, you will find fulfillment in that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and embracing with generosity of any vocation you have will just enrich the church so much, with those holy vocations. So we need to pray for each other. We need each other.
Yeah, amen to that. Well, thank you. And thanks everybody for watching. I hope that answered a lot of your questions you had about religious sisters. If you've got more, drop them in the comments and I will try and get them answered for you. And appreciate you watching. Check out their vocation stories on our channel as well. God bless.
I thought they were going to be harder questions. When you send them, it's like, oh, okay.